Confidence Network for the strong, not the weak.
I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel. There was a time when Christopher Columbus was heavily pushed and accepted as the greatest explorer the world has ever known. However, there were other explorers that existed in the world during Columbus' time and long before he ever set sail. Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the lesser-known explorers, but who were just as important, and some long before Christopher Columbus ever set foot on the American shores. First, we'll look at Abu Bakari, brother to Mansa Musa, the richest man in the world. Second, Pedro Alonso Nino, another navigator and great explorer. We will then look into some of the exploits of Juan Garrido. And lastly, Estevanico Esteban. These are 4 explorers of many that we will be taking a brief look at today, long before the discovery of America. Western scholars have all but ignored, dismissed, and discredited the fact that Africans had contact with the Americas long before Columbus. But scholars such as Dr. Ivan van Sertima and Sheikh Anta Diop rejected this in the books They Came Before Columbus, published in 1976, and The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, published in 1974. But they were not alone. Decades before, respected Harvard lecturer Leo Weiner, a Russian-born scholar of Polish-Jewish heritage who was a polyglot skilled in more than 20 languages, noted the African presence in the 1920s book, Africa and the Discovery of America. As others have staked claims as the dominant voice, especially the so-called New World, their version of events have endured. As with every other position in the world, African peoples were explorers as well. And the following are a few that we all should know. Researchers have discovered that Abu Bakari once ruled the Mali Empire, and they have discovered that he is the main force behind the African arrival to the Americas prior to Columbus. Abu Bakari Musa ruled the Mali Empire, and he is said to be the son of Kalanki, sister of Sun Diata Keita, the founding emperor of the great Mali Empire in West Africa. In 1311, Abu Bakari relinquished his throne to Mansa Musa to pursue his belief that the Atlantic Ocean, similar to the river Niger, had another bank. Already during his rule, Abu Bakari had funded a 200-boat expedition to find the bank. When only one ship returned, with the captain reporting that a current swept the rest of the fleet away, prompting him to turn back, Abu Bakari put together a 2,000-boat expedition that he himself led. It is believed that Abu Bakari, who never returned home landed at what is now Brazil, and that some of the previous boats landed throughout the Americas. Some of the ships arrived in what is now Mexico and even in Colorado. This is why Warner and others before and after him note early remnants of African culture in the Americas, some of which was found by Columbus upon his arrival almost 200 years later. And folks, let's be honest, we have no way of knowing what Abu Khari looked like, but the following slides are drawings of what he may have looked like. But one thing we do know for sure, that he was a great explorer that arrived into the shores of Americas long before what is widely accepted as the discovery in 1492. Described as El Negro, navigator and explorer, Pedro Alonso Nino had long been acknowledged for accompanying Columbus on his first expedition to the Americas in 1492 as the pilot of the Santa Maria. Although Pedro is one of the most well-known of Columbus' crew, he was not alone. His brothers Francisco and Juan were also part of Columbus' voyages. In their home of Margor, Spain, they were prominent sailors with experience on Atlantic voyages. Reportedly, Pedro even sailed the West African coast. During the first Columbus voyage, Juan helmed the ship Lania, which he also owned. Francisco was most likely a sailor on the Lania. The brothers also took part in Columbus's second voyage, in which it is well documented that Pedro was with Columbus when he allegedly discovered Trinidad. Yes, imagine that. He discovered a land that was also inhabited by millions. Yeah, right. The sons of Pedro and Juan are believed to have participated in Columbus's voyages as well. Another great explorer from the 1500s is Juan Grillo. Born in Africa, Juan was enslaved in Portugal but began his career in exploration in Salve, Spain, probably as a slave. Around 1502 or 1503, he landed in Santo Domingo. Later, Grillo was elevated to the status of conquistador and was with Ponce de Leon during his search for the Fountain of Youth in Florida in 1513. Grillo was also part of the Hernando Cortez-led invasion of Mexico in 1519, which resulted in the conquest of the Aztec. Later, he participated in expeditions to Michoacán in Mexico in the 1520s and traveled to islands in San Juan and Cuba as well. Grillo, who married and fathered 3 children, settled in Mexico City. To secure land that, based on his service, should have been his automatically, he provided testimony of his exploits of his 30 years as a conquistador without pay in 1538. Today, he is also credited with harvesting the first commercial wheat crop in the Americas. And perhaps the most well-known is Estevanico Esteban. By most accounts, Esteban was sold into slavery around 1513 in the Portugal-controlled Azamora on Morocco's Atlantic coast at the age of 10 to 13 and brought to Spain, where he became the servant of Andre Durantes de Carranza. With Durantes, Esteban, who was labeled a Moor by most historians, traveled to Cuba to join the Panico de Navies expedition to conquer Florida for Spain. Although raised a Muslim, Esteban converted to Catholicism, which was also a requirement to participate in Spanish expeditions to the Americas. Esteban also participated in explorations of Cuba and northern Mexico. So you see, folks, exploration is nothing new to black people. Black people have been exploring the world since the world was in existence. And since there was a sea, black people have been traveling the high seas. Ladies and gentlemen, our research has found that the first Americans were African. And if you find that your research have found another people that were here before the Africans, please let us know so that we can do a follow-up video. And we will gladly make any corrections necessary. But as of right now, we're sticking to the research that suggests that they were African. If only the truth could be told. Another hidden fact about this country is that many of the so-called Native Americans were also black people. As a matter of fact, the majority of so-called Native Americans were dark-skinned people. And as we talk about the explorers, let's not forget Matthew Henson, the first man to ever set foot on the North Pole, a black man. The Black Excellence and Abundance Channel, where black history is every day. Thanks for watching. And please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And always remember, thou art rich.
It's your boy D Greatest from South Central. Tune in on Sunday for Sunday Night Love Jones, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And on Mondays for Monday Night Love Jones, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for good music, good conversation, and good vibes. It's all about the love. Yeah, man.
Welcome aboard. This is Build and Destroy. I am HRap. This is a podcast about my people, our lives, our families, our successes, and our history. Coming to you live and direct every Saturday. Or you can catch us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, iTunes, or wherever you download your podcast at. You can also come back to Spreaker.com, look for Build for This Network, and you'll be in tune. Now let's go.
Thank you for tuning in. This is HRap. Coming at you as usual, live and direct. It is Saturday, so that is good morning. That is good afternoon. That is good evening. That is good night, depending on where you're listening. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. It's really, I appreciate every listen that I have.